using the Gung Fu salute, right? It's doing the same thing, the hard to soft. In Isshin-Ryu, we do it in one, two. It's hard to soft. Anytime you see this, all right? That's all it is, hard to soft. The male, the female, the yin, the yang, okay? You might not have it in every form, but that's what it's based on, all right? So now, we were talking a while ago, we were talking about the leg being superior to the hand. There should not be, in theory, if you're going by the yin and the yang symbol, if you're going by that, you should not lean one over the other. It should be in perfect harmony. When we should see that thing, it's a flat object. When it's on his arm, it looks like it's a flat object. In reality, the yin and yang is a sphere. It's a ball that is continuously changing and rotating, up, down, twisting. And they work in harmony, the yin, the yang, the male, the female, black, the white. It's always changing. So you're always going to hear this about it changing. The thing is, too many people make it stagnant and it's one way. Wrong. It should be always changing. So now in the Isshin-Ryu, we show it here, hard to soft. Now you see a woman that is half dragon. All right? That shows that, now this is, remember, Oriental philosophy might be a little chauvinistic, but we're just saying we're sorry about that, but that's real. So number one, it says woman can be gentle as a woman. Karate or the martial arts can be gentle as a woman, but fierce as what? A dragon. Remember the two opposites. All right? The three stars. The three stars represent all the teachers. All the teachers of Master Shimabuku. Not three teachers, but all the teachers that light up the darkness. Remember, light, dark. There will always be the two opposites. The darkness is the unknown. Yet your teachers guide you. They give you knowledge. They light up the darkness. So that's what that means. Remember, there will always be the two opposites. Okay? The dragon flying above, Master Shimabuku's name was Tatsuo. He took that when he made the name, the style Isshin-Ryu karate. He took the name Tatsuo, which means dragon person. Not dragon boy, dragon person. Now, if that is up here, that now represents heaven. Now the whole goddess again represents what? Earth. So it's heaven and earth working in harmony. When they talk in the Orient, you talk about heaven. Remember, we just did it in the Korean symbol there. It has heaven and earth. When we talk heaven and earth, all that means is heaven above, in other words, the intangible, the things that we can't see. Earth is solid. And anything in between is what? Anything in between is man. Now, in all of the martial arts, there is a little bit of philosophy from Buddhism, Taoism, Confucianism, and all that good stuff. All these different religions. Right? That doesn't mean that you have to believe in it, but just so that you get an idea of where they're coming from. When you see flower arrangement, anybody see ikebana, Japanese flower arrangement? They normally, when they put it up here, they put one flower or stem. They put it high. That represents heaven. There will always be a low one. That will represent earth. There will be one in the middle. That represents man. All things in between heaven and earth. All right? When you see rock gardens in the Orient, what do you see? You see a high rock, middle rock, and a flat rock. Getting the idea? When you start talking karate and they start saying mind, body, spirit, there we go. So that's Buddhist thought. It comes in threes. So anytime you see anything in your martial arts that starts talking threes, that's probably origins or probably from Buddhism. All right? When you start talking about two things, then we're basically talking yin and yang. When we talk about five things, any five things, then you're talking about the five elements, which comes from Chinese thought. Now, why does Korea, why does Japan, why do many of these countries have something in common with China? Because China was at that time thought to be the center of the universe in Asian thought. Everything went from China, it went to Korean. We can prove that the yin and yang symbol, I mean, you know, the same thing, those symbols he's got on the arm, that's Chinese thought. That's from the symbol Ba Kwa. There's 8 trigrams. He's only got 4 there, but there's 8. From that 8, you multiply it 8 times 8, you get 64 different trigrams. Each time it changes, it has a new interpretation. So I'm just saying, when you talk one, anytime you talk one in Oriental philosophy, it's talking about unity. 2 is always the 2 direct opposites. 3, in other words, heaven, earth, man. See how it starts going? It just starts multiplying. So numbers play an important part in Oriental philosophy. 8, when you start talking 5, we talk about the 5 elements. Right on down the line. 4 is basically the 4 corners of the universe. All right? Or north, south, east, west. And it just continues. The numbers play a great part. That's why it is thought that any form, this will give you an idea, especially if you're in different systems or in our own system, anytime a form uses numbers, in other words, like Seisan, Sanchin, anytime the number is played in there, like Sanchin means what? Sanchin means 3 conflicts. Anytime there's numbers played on it, it is believed, but not necessarily so, that it is from Buddhist thought. All right, when you see 108 hands, anything like that, and it's basically from Buddhist thought, because those play important parts in Buddhism. When you talk 18, that comes in. You see 13, Seisan is 13. Okay? So it just carries right on down the line. This form you're talking about here, that represents heaven, earth. See what I mean? It's the same thing. So you just find that philosophy. Now, the Orient, when you hear them, you'll see them do this. Anytime you see them do something like this, clapping or anything, what they're doing, they're alerting the spirits, heaven and earth. They're saying, hey, I'm about to say something, I'm about to do something. You're waking them up because they're sleeping. Right? Hey, guy, I'm coming up, I'm going to do something. Bow to you, I'm going to pay respect to you or something. So that's what that means. If you hear bells ringing, if you ever go to a dojo and they hit a bell or something like that, then that's Buddhist thought. Right? They clap, that Shinto thought. If they don't do anything like, now the Okinawans do it like this. And they mix heaven and earth together. Right? Now Master Shimabuku used to go through a ceremony where he'd go like this, alert the spirits, put heaven and earth together, and then what he'd do is he'd split the cosmos and he'd scream like here, right? And then what he did was he split the universe, chase the evil spirits away, and then he'd throw sand out there. I'm not saying salt, right out there. So there's a lot of different ceremonies within the different schools. Okay, so we have the basic symbols and the philosophy. Now all martial arts, basically, when we talk Asian martial arts, generally it is believed that most of the martial arts came from China. From China, then it came to each of the other countries. Each of the other countries did what? They took it and they changed it to their philosophy, their way of life, and everything. In China, remember, you've got 1 billion people here, all right? So the difference, there's going to be so many different varieties of martial arts. Martial arts change within your own system. If I take 2 people and I teach them from the same teacher and they both part and move different ways, they will both start doing things different. It's as simple as that. So when you see difference within your own system, don't get excited because all things are changing and it's inevitable. So don't, if your school tells you propaganda and says our system's never changed for 3,000 years, well, if they weren't there for 3,000 years, how the hell are they talking about this? So it changes within teacher from teacher to teacher to teacher. There are just basic characteristics that stay within the system. Okay? There are Okinawan systems, as a rule, not always, as a rule, stress the 2. In other words, punching, kicking, punching, kicking. Japanese have emphasized mostly punching. Koreans mostly kicking. Okinawans, trying to keep with this harmony of the yin and yang, will say it depends. There are times the leg is superior to the hands, there's times the hands are superior. You've got to be flexible. Now, they have what they call the doctrine of the mean. Doctrine of the mean, and there's a middle path. Don't get them mixed up. In Buddhist thought, there is what they call the middle path. In other words, stay down the middle. Can't go wrong. Doctrine of the mean is Confucius thought. Now we have a fence. Doctrine of mean says you're going down the middle. So I've got a fence here. It takes me all day to straddle that fence. So if I'm going down the way the fence is, if the road is clear on this side, all right, I jump off the fence, I can really go. All those alligators, I'll jump on the fence. Quicksand, get back over here. You jump. You do what is right for whatever that situation is. You jump hard, soft, yin, yang, black, white, and all this. And there's times you straddle the fence. And that's what you do in the martial arts. You should not say, my system is 70% kicking, 70% this and that. That is what? You're leaning toward one side, which you should never be. You should be able to do what is right at the time. Okay? We were talking about kicking. Some people say, well, the leg is superior to the hand. Well, there are so many places. There's 2 places behind the back or you're climbing over something. Okay, but there are a million places you can't use your feet. So you shouldn't just base it, you see. You shouldn't just base it that we use 70%. If you do, then you should better use your own. You know, maybe your school does that, but you should put it in your own mind. Whatever is right is what I'm going to do. And that's our philosophy. So doctrine of the means, do what is right. All right? Now, if my car goes in the ditch, what do? If my car goes in the ditch, sometimes we use the hard. We can just go there and we can just push that thing. Right? We can just push it out. If it's, slippery road or something like this, sometimes a little push will get it. That's the hard. There's times you're really in a ravine, you better do some brain housing group, put leverages and put pulleys and all that. Now you got to do the soft. See? That's all I'm just saying. So it's flexible. There's times that you talk your way out of trouble, and there's times you have to what? There's the hard. They attack you, then you have no choice, and you have to use the hard. So don't be so quick to say, well, we do it this way, we do it that way. It should be what? It should be the doctrine of the meaning. So when you hear the doctrine of the meaning, you understand what it is. Now they have what they call the Book of Changes, the I Ching. The Book of Changes is believed to be the oldest book in the Orient from Chinese thought. And they have 8 trigrams. These 8 trigrams, by changing them in sequence, which is what he's got on his arm here, by changing those sequences, it can mean different things, interpretations. Now, it's a book of changes. It's a book of like a, what do you call it, a fortune. Matter of fact, fortune tellers use it. And they have, some use coins, some of them throw sticks. But however it comes up, like if you get heaven and earth or earth and heaven, then the person looks at it, he tells you what it can mean, and you pick the right thing. All right? So your fortune telling actually works almost 100% correct. But why is it correct? Because they say, okay, here's 8 things that it can be. You're going to pick the one that suits your mind, your imagination, and since you picked it, well, it's right. So if you ever hear a fortune telling in the Orient being 100% right, yes, because you're picking it. All they gave you was options. And that's exactly what you learn in the martial arts. We show you basic techniques. You now have options. Now, we always talk about, well, this is a punch, and that's it. Well, punch to where? Basically, it's a punch where? It's the solar plexus. And it's your imaginary opponent is always your size, right? When your teacher tells you, he says, okay, put this here, one fist out, always punch here, and all that. Well, later on, it's now your imagination. It's now I'm hitting a giant in the kneecap, or I'm hitting a midget in the forehead. You say whatever you want. But you're doing what is right at the time. When you first learned it, it was to the solar plexus. After that, it's anything you want. So everything should be flexible, adaptable, and that's the key to success in any martial art. It can't be stagnant.